Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to Creative Ends platform. I'm just making a video on this trending net turban combined with Ashoke. Sometimes you can use net, at other times you can do it with lace. So I'll just be showing the process. It's quite easy. So I will need two pieces of Ashoke to first of all create the base. So the two pieces of Ashoke, I'll be using length of 20 inches. So by the time I fold, that is M, by the time I M the left and the right, it can fall back to 18 or 17 inches. So I'll just quickly M the left and the right. It's very important because if you do not M it, it can lose. So you have to do everything possible to protect it. If you do not aim it, it can lose. All right. So I'll be creating the pleats. I believe if you watch carefully, you understand the process I'll use in creating the pleats. So to create the pleats, after I'll sew the left and the right side, that is to avoid it from losing, I'll just take in about 1.5 inch or 1 inch, but 1.5 inch is better. So I just roll it around my table and then I'll start by sewing that first one. I'll sew the first one carefully and ensuring that it is flat, smooth. That is very important. Then I'll take the second uh, fold. I'll take the second fold. The second one should rest on the first one, but it shouldn't cover the first one totally. It shouldn't cover it completely. So you can see that there is a little space. That will now be the distance I would be using to create the pleat, because there must be a certain distance with which you are creating your pleat. So when you place the first pleat, the second pleat, you use that second pleat to determine your distance, the distance between each pleat. If you do not have a distance between each of your pleats, it then means that you are not creating a pleat. So that's my distance. Now that part there where I just showed you now, that's the part where the second ashoke was attached. I don't usually like it appearing in my work, so I try as much as possible to cover it. I don't want to fold my pleat and it's not showing at the edge. It has a way of altering the work, so I try as much as possible to cover it. So I have just about five pleats, five plates. That's just all I did. So right now I would be creating a belt for the plate. The belt is meant to help me hold the base very flat on my head. So the size of ashoke I'm using is just about 6 by 6. That's the length. So, and then I'll be using the Velcro tape. Some people call it hook and loop. Then in our local market, they call it husband and wife. And you can easily find it in places where they sell tailoring accessories for tailoring. You can find it there. So some call it husband and wife, some call it hook and loop. So when you fix, one of it should be facing the top. That's the black part facing top like you see now. And then the second one should face down. That's the only way it can fix to each other. So now I want to cover the back of the cap. Remember, I am using ashoke to create the cap, so it will be time for me to cover the cap. Now remember, the length of the base by now, after folding my left and right, should give me about 18 inches. So what I'm going to use to cover the back should be longer than 18 inches. So what I'm using to cover the back should be more than the length of the base. The length of the base 18 inches plus the belt, it will be up to like 24 inches. But when we are going to attach the cover of the back, it's not meant to cover the belt, so it's only the base that it will cover. But nevertheless, it should be as long as the belt space or even longer than the belt space. The reason is Asoke is not a stretchy fabric and it needs to fit into the head, because if you make it the exact head size, it cannot pass your head, so it has to be bigger. So for you to do that, you would be needing about 26 inches of Asoke to cover the back. So if you look at it now, you see in my placement that the part I'm going to use to cover the base, which is the band, is longer than the band. You understand? So the reason is for me to be able to wear it on the head, since it is not a stretchy fabric. That's just the only reason. So when you wear it on the head, it's going to be very free and it will like rest on the back. Then the belt, which is the Velcro tape I fixed, is what will help it to be fitted on the head. You cannot use handle to make it fitted, though you can, but it will not be as perfect as when you use the Velcro tape. Okay, so now that I am done fixing, I'll quickly show it to you that I do have extra like this from both sides like this. So the next thing I would be doing will be to fold it backward. The right side will be folded inwardly. The right side of the Asoke or the cap is what I will fold inward. So after folding the right side inward, I'm now going to start my sewing from the extra edge. So I'll start my sewing from the part you can see my hand now. Now I actually joined 3 pieces of Asoke for the cap. While I was in the process of the video, I felt it was too much, so I had to like do my folding or curve. So I stopped, the curve at the second Asoke because three will just be too long. Three will be too long. So I just curved by the two and I sewed on the edge. Remember, Asoke has a way of losing very fast. So I sewed on the edge and I repeated the stitches. So if you are making yours, just a way of correction, please use two Asoke at the back. So the total Asoke you'll be needing for the cap will just be like 4. The first two should be 20 inches. The last two can be 26 or 28. 26 should be small. 28 inches is perfect. Please, it's not everything I can write. So the last two should be 28 inches. So when we turn it out, we have our cap like this. So you can see that you have the excess under, which you will just be able to fit your head into, and then the part that will be covering the base is at the top. Now this just all. We'll go to the net part now. The net I used for this training is 5 inches. Remember, when it comes to training, I can even use 2 inches. I say no, yard, I mean, it's 5 yards, not inches, please. 5 yards. When it comes to training, I can use 2 yards safe, because it's what I can buy for training, I will use for training. So, but I bought 5 yards for this. Now, if you want, you can lining the net. That is, you line it with maybe polo lining or baby lining. But I think polo lining would be better and lighter, so that the weight will not be too much. It will help it to get easily full. Now, if you do not want to use any form of lining and you are making this cap for a client, I want to beg you that you should get at least 8 yards. So that's the reason you cannot just sit down and tell somebody, I will make this cap for you for 1,000. You have to know what it will cost you to really achieve the weight of this cap. And then another thing is this: you might need to have a turban lift. Turban lift. So that's, by the way, let me come back to the video. So it's your choice to decide if you want to do 50-50 of your net, that is 50 to the left, 50 to the right. But whichever decision you are making, the net must be fixed to the cap. So you can see I sew a part there, and I'm going to sew a second part to the cap. So I'll just place and then use my sewing machine to hold it. If now, it's not always you use bridal net. Sometimes you might use lace, those soft bale lace in the market, because it's very fine with lace too. So if you are doing that and you feel it's too thick for your machine to sew, please use your hand needle and your invisible thread. What I call the invisible thread is fishing line. You know, fishing line. I did not show it to you, please. All right. So the part where I sewed, where I used to join the net to the Asoke, is actually the part I would be putting this embellishment on. So when you sew it, you can sew with your hand needle, you can sew it with your sewing machine, whichever means you use in sewing. The bottom line is that the part you used in attaching it to the cap needs to be covered. So, and to do that, you just use your accessories to like cover, use your hot glue on it and attach it to the top. Ensure that the hot glue is very hot, because it needs some kind of pressure for it to be attached, especially when the fabric is thick and it needs to like go across it. So on the two parts where I joined is the part I would be attaching the embellishments. The two parts that I joined, they are the part I would be attaching the embellishments. All right, so that's that. After this, I would be attaching it straight. Now, something you would need for you to attach it on the straight base is that one, some numbers of your pleat must come out. So you do not just attach. Even while fixing your net, you have to make provision for the numbers of pleats you wish to show. So for me, I would love to show about 2 pleats, just 2 out of the 5. I would like to show just 2. So it means my net I've taken 2, and then the remaining 3 now, the embellishment will be taking 1 part of the remaining 3. So after the embellishment, I would be having just two pleats showing in front of the Asoke. Is that clear enough? I do hope it's clear enough. Remember, I said if you are embarking on this project, please, especially if you are not going to line your material, please use 8 yards. 8 if you like, you can use 10 safe, because it will help the weight of your wrapping to be thick. So let me just chip in a little bit of what do I say now? Is it entertainment? I want to welcome those joining Creative Ends platform for the first time. If you have subscribed to Creative Ends platform, I would like to use this opportunity to thank you. And if today is your first time discovering Creative Ends platform, I also want to say welcome to you. And also, as a quick reminder, do not forget to subscribe before leaving the channel today. I would really appreciate that. So before I will go, finally, I would like to just chip in a little advice concerning the wrap. While you are wrapping, please ensure that the embellishment on the front is showing should be obvious, and then allow some part of the embellishment where you cross to also show a little. It's part of the design, because I just think the only thing that is so special about this design is the embellishment. I do hope you enjoyed today's tutorials. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and then I'll see you in my next video. Remember, I said you can also attach a turban lift to this turban. It will help it to stand better. All right.